I mean,
Yeah.
Say,
Welcome
say,
to
say.
episode 23 of UBI. We're almost at 25. So
this is
25
this
is like a quarter of a
That's a
century.
big number, yeah.
this is the Michael Jordan episode.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's true.
that was
That's
actually the
true.
name of no, that was our second episode, the Michael Jordan of comedy.
Oh, yeah.
But
Oh, right, right.
yeah,
The
I remember
Michael
that
Jordan
one.
of comedy. That was a
it was
funny.
Tommy Davidson. If you're not aware, he was the
It's like,
Michael
that's the
Jordan
Michael
Apparently.
Jordan of comedy.
of comedy.
It's like, really, guy?
Speaking of comedy, I was going to ask y'all a question, but then I remember that neither of you really watch movies, so I'm going to keep my question
Coming
to
to America
myself.
too.
Yes.
Have you seen it?
Of course I have.
Okay, I
Of
saw the first
course.
one like 30 years later, but I did see it very recently.
The first one you saw for the first time recently?
Yeah, I think I saw the first one in like 2018 or something like that, because Geneva forced me to watch it. I know, and I have an unpopular opinion.
Wait. Remember when you used to do my accent in law school when I'll be
And you
like,
said,
I'll be like, this is Manny doing a terrible Eddie Murphy accent.
Oh, that's funny. And he hadn't even seen it.
And so you never even knew what that was.
no, I knew what you were talking about because here's the thing: I don't watch movies, but I've seen scenes from them.
Right.
So like
right.
I am familiar with what Coming to America is. I'm familiar, with Eddie Murphy's accent because I've seen him in scenes, but I haven't actually sat down and watched the whole thing. And that drives Geneva and other people crazy because I'm able to understand movies and understand like the important stuff, but I don't watch the whole thing. But I get, the main characters.
Like just watch it.
Yeah,
like,
I've seen I always say
watch
I've
it.
seen part of it, which means I've seen it on TV like once. Like I've seen like 15 minutes. Like, all right, I get the gist, and then I move on. So I knew what you were talking about. I still think I sounded better than Eddie Murphy. That accent is terrible.
So are you gonna watch Coming to America too? Coming to America?
I might. This is the thing about watching Coming to America the first time is I watched it as an adult and I watched it 25 years after it came out. So
Yeah,
for me, it's really not going to be as I look at it more objectively. I'm like, is this really that great? But then everyone wants to kill me because they're like, how dare you? It's like, but you saw it when you were younger and you know what I mean? Like you're blinded by
you're not the same
nostalgia.
person.
You're not the same person.
Yep,
I'm looking at it with like 2018 eyes as like a 29 or 8-year-old, however old I was. Like, guys, I'm not that impressed. But I can understand seeing it when you were younger. You're like, oh man, this is the best. And it was innovative, I'm sure, back then, but so much has happened in that time frame. Like it's
that's real. Like, and I think that's sort of what's challenging about. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Mine is mute. I don't know if he knows he's mute.
I can.
It looks like he's thinking. It looks like he's trying to figure out if he's mute or not. But okay, so
you accidentally muted yourself.
I feel like he knows he's mute. Okay. Yeah, you're muted.
Can you hear me?
Just now. Yeah. Could you hear us talking?
I can't hear you guys.
Oh, that's weird.
Well, Manny,
what did you do, Lottie? So art to me it's just all very interesting, right? Like the idea that when and where a movie meets you is going to be a big part of like what you think about it, So it's like people who don't like Coming to America 2. I suspect that most people who don't like Coming to America 2 either really don't like or love Coming to America 1 or Coming to America period, or they like it because everybody else likes it. Because I feel like if you really watch and enjoy Coming to America for what it is, and not the nostalgia, not the blah blah blah, you just like the comedy and all that, then Coming to America 2 is not that different. Like other than 30 years later, and now we've had Black Panther, and we're like, oh, but this isn't like Black Panther. Like, well, yeah, it isn't, because why would it be?
So then, to get it straight, what you're saying is Coming to America 1 was just I guess comedy. Like that's what it's
I
aimed
mean, both
for.
of them are comedies, right? Like they're like, if you think like Kevin Hart comedies, right? Like that's what they are. They're just like a funny story about an African prince who goes to America to find a wife. It's ridiculous, right? Like it's
But
like
but but
it's
but
not
but,
deep.
but you know that I guess Coming to America one though. I feel like that storyline is less ridiculous today. I mean, was less ridiculous 30 years ago than
Hmm.
it is today. You know what I mean? Like, so is it basically a continuation of that ridiculous? For instance, if Coming to America 1 just came out today, it will be like
It would be
absolutely,
stupid. Yeah,
it
it'd be
will be,
ridiculous. Like
it will be
it's ridiculous.
but I don't think it was that ridiculous 30 years ago.
Then, of course, exactly. So here's the thing, right? Is it possible to do Coming to America 2 in a way that is not ridiculous, the same way that Coming to America 1 was not that ridiculous back then, right? I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not sure how feasible that is. But it's also one
Why
of those
did
things
they
where
have to do Coming to America too? That's
they
the
didn't. They didn't. They somebody gave him $60 million and they're like, shit, why not? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it looks terrible.
I mean, you never have to do a sequel. I love, like, I enjoy it because, like, like I love Coming to America 1, and so then getting to see the sequel. Like, I think that there's probably not a movie that I love that I hated the sequel. That like love, right? Like where it's like I really enjoy. Granted, no sequel. No one ever needs a sequel. A sequel is never, especially a sequel that's not really like a part. Like it's not like a real, especially when it's like that many, like Deadpool 1 and 2. Okay, like that makes more sense. I don't think of those as sequels or like any of these like Avenger type movies, right? It's like the story continues. So these ones are like, oh, we made this movie, everybody loved it. You know what we should do? Let's do another one 20 years later, 10 years. Like those aren't really like that was not one story. That's just like that script that we got 40 years ago, let's look at it again and see what we can do with a whole new storytelling with everybody older. But I really like it. A lot of people don't like it, and I'm kind of annoyed about that. I'm not annoyed about
So
people
you
not
like the
liking it.
movie? You like Coming to
Yeah,
America
I
too?
did.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. Like I think it like I enjoyed it for what it is, Like I don't think it's like it's and I think that I meet a lot of movies where they are, like I'm not like, oh man, this movie could have been better. Like the storyline sucked. I was like, it's a ridiculous, like all those, what's his name? Oh God,
Arsenio Hall.
So Plain, right? Like all those movies are ridiculous. Like, there's a whole genre of like ridiculous black comedies, and like Harlem Nights is probably one of like those comedies I don't think is ridiculous. I enjoy like Harlem Nights. I think is really good.
That was a good movie.
Yeah, like that's
Coming
like
to
a part.
America?
Like, yeah.
What was
And
it?
it's
Harlem Nights.
Harlem Nights. Well, Harlem Nights is like phenomenal.
I
It's like,
saw that much later as well. I think I saw them in like succession, like maybe in the same year. Because Geneva just sat me down and was like, "All right, I need
She's
you
like,
to
look,
look at this.
you're gonna lose your
We
black
can't
card."
continue a relationship if you haven't viewed these movies. So you have to watch them."
Here's
She's
a-
done that
here's
with
a
a few
list.
movies because she's seen
Yes.
every black movie that there is.
I mean,
So she could
as she
probably
should.
quote Coming to America 1, though I haven't heard her talk much about Coming to America 2.
Has she seen it?
I don't think so. It's on Netflix, right? I don't think
Amazon Prime.
Oh, Amazon Prime. I don't think she's seen it. I don't know if
it just came out 2 days ago. So like that's the other thing. Like people are writing think and hit pieces. I'm like, the movie just came out 2 days ago. You've had 30 years to think and feel about Coming to America 1, and 2 days in, people are like, oh, Coming to America 1 is a classic. This one is bullshit. I'm like, chill, people. Like,
what are the think pieces saying?
So I mean, I don't really like. I'm ignoring a lot of it, and I finally muted Coming to America on my Twitter timeline because they all make me angry. So I've seen a lot of, and this is always the African response to Hollywood African movies. It's always like about like, oh, this doesn't feel authentic. These accents are ridiculous. Oh, this portrays a stereotypical view of Africa and Africans and all that. And I'm always like, look. I'm remembering parts of it that there's a storyline about like child soldiers It's ridiculous. Like Wesley Snipes is ridiculous in it. It's like the country next door to them is called Nextdoria. It's ridiculous. It's dumb. Like it's just like as soon as I heard Nextdoria, I was like, oh my god, this is dumb. But it's like to me, it's that kind of comedy, you know. Like they didn't need to be like, oh, the country next door to us will be Algeria, Zambia, right? And it's like no, like it doesn't need to be anything. Just like you know, let it be what it is. So a lot of people are like, they feel like the storyline is just ridiculous to an African. The accents, I've seen complaints. The outfits are amazing. Like they look fucking stunning. Like I'm like, y'all really did that. And also, there's a ton of stars in it. Like I'm forgetting everybody's names now.
James Earl Jones is in it again.
Yep, he's in there.
Shout out to him for staying alive and being a part of the Lion King and coming to America too.
Before his scene came up, I had to look and make sure this man was still alive. I was like, yeah. Okay, good. They had, you know, Lisa's dad was in there, and her sister wasn't in there, and the other guy, the Soul Glow guy, wasn't in it. They had Tiana Taylor. They had, what's his name from the real OG or the last OG?
Tracy Morgan. Oh, Tracy Morgan is in it.
Tracy Morgan's in there. They had Rick Ross.
What? Okay, well, so this is insane. But
it's that
but you have to enjoy it. Like you have to enjoy it for what it is, I guess.
Like Gladys Knight is in there. Like I mean, it was like everybody's in it. You know, it's one of those.
I see. So I'm gonna switch from this Coming to America.
That's okay.
Lies not interested.
He's like, as an African, I'm over it.
Yes, I'm so over it. Have you guys seen Bridgerton?
No.
What is it?
Bridgerton, Netflix. It's a Netflix show. It's out of what's her name? Shondaland.
Okay, good. So you guys haven't? I mean, I haven't seen it either. It is supposedly probably the #1 show on Netflix now. Like,
but that changes every 5 minutes in Netflix. So
it does, though.
It's because I feel like for like a couple of weeks, Netflix kept saying it was. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know. I haven't because I don't like period pieces. Like, it's not really my shtick. And then when everybody talks about a show, then I'm like, I'm never gonna watch this. So that's
I'm just asking for whatever reason. I thought you guys would have watched it because I haven't seen it. So
nah, it doesn't seem interesting.
I mean,
what is this?
I think it's like it's been all over my timeline. People love it. There's a guy from it that is very good looking, and everyone loves him.
Why is he black? What is going on? I don't understand. It's like Downton Abbey, but with like some black guy. What is going on?
So it is basically imagining, 18th century or maybe 17th century Victorian England with black people with power.
With a couple of black people. It's not a lot. It's like
with black people just essentially being in the,
sprinkled in.
Anything that's British, I'm like usually turned off.
I think
that's messed up.
I don't know.
So messed up.
No, but like old timey British stuff. Let's stop. Nobody I hate when they do that in like Game of Thrones and shit where people have British accents for no reason. It's like, why do these people have to have?
The queen here is black.
Who's black?
Is she the queen? I know there's a black woman who looks motherly.
I don't know, but I think the queen is supposedly black.
It doesn't appeal to me. Like,
no, you know what I didn't like too? What was that series? Oh my gosh. It was about it had Jessie Smollet's sister in it, Journey Smollett.
Some of the horror one on HBO?
What was that called? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna. What the hell was that called? Let me see if I can find it online. Journey Smollett. What was she in?
People love Lovecraft Country.
Yes, Lovecraft
People
Country.
Love that.
Oh my gosh! So like the first episode was very fascinating and interesting, and I liked how it talked about. It was kind of a timepiece, I guess.
Sunset towns and all that. Right?
Yeah. And then it got crazy. Like the second episode, everything just got very weird, and there were like werewolves and shit was just getting.
Yeah,
it didn't make any sense, and I was like, "This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life."
Just keep white people in that kind of stuff.
And they couldn't get any sense of focus. It was all over the place, and people were like, "Oh, it's so deep." Like, no, it's not. Explain to me what's going on. Like, tell me what's going on. If it's so deep,
I just feel like
so bad.
I know what I like, and so then I only watch what I like.
Yeah.
And like all I need is although that being said, it's always a nice surprise when I watch a movie with absolutely no context and I enjoy it. That's always sort of a nice surprise. But there are a lot of things that I'm just like, everybody's talking about it. It doesn't seem like my cup of tea. I'm not gonna go out of my way to watch it.
Have you seen Game of Thrones, Io?
No, I don't do that.
I don't do that stuff either. I haven't seen it. I could care less. And I like the fact that I haven't seen it. I take pride in that.
Like,
I hope it annoys people.
I'm like, I don't. There are some shows that are like, I joke that they're like, I don't know if cult classic is the word, but they trigger people. And so I always see shows like that on people's like Tinder profiles. And it's such a weird thing. Like, it's like certain shows are just like, it's about like who you are, you know? So like Game of Thrones is one, like I see it, you know, probably one in every like 20 profiles, somebody is like, oh, you know, we can't date if you haven't seen Game of Thrones. And I'm like, I guess we can't date. Like, okay.
So none of us.
None of us are cool.
None of us can date that person.
I definitely haven't seen it.
I know Dly hasn't seen it. You know what I watched for the first time last night? I watched The Matrix for the first time. And it was so random because I was like, I've never seen it. And someone mentioned it recently. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to dedicate this time and I'm going to watch The Matrix. And I got like an hour in.
I can't imagine watching it with 2021 lenses.
I got an hour in. I was like, I think I got enough of this. And I turned it off. But,
and I think there are shows like certain movies they like you will never be able to enjoy it as some, you know, the way that someone who watched it when it came out did. Like,
right.
It just, like, I think that in 20 years we're gonna look at Black Panther and be like, right. Like, what were y'all happy? Like, y'all dressed up? Like, that was dumb.
Yeah, wow. Wasn't that great of a
like shows.
What'd you say? When you watch shows, what?
Yeah. Can you all hear me just fine?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Yeah, I said, you know what I hate when I watch shows and it may just be like a sitcom. I mean, not sitcom, like just a regular, I don't know, maybe sitcom or talk show. See clips of them, and they will reference some movie from the 60s. I'll be like, ooh, like, you know, Lucille Ball or whatnot.
Right.
Like, what the fuck are you guys like? That movie can't be that good.
I agree. We're evolving. So it's like, no, a movie that was made in 1955, just by definition, couldn't have been that good. I'm not going to waste my time watching something over half a century old. I just don't care.
And they read on and on about it. I'm like, first of all,
I think that you're not the audience for that kind of stuff, right? Like, for those lines, right? Like, I think that there are jokes that I think. I mean, no, supposed to think about it, right? Like, it's like inside jokes, except that like there are millions of people who get that inside joke, right?
No,
like,
buying it. I'm not buying it.
I mean, that's you.
Well,
the reason I said.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was my brother and I just watched Deadpool 1 and 2, and like
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, it's okay. It's comic, you know, it's superhero stuff. So even though it makes me sad that you don't even get to enjoy these things, but like I used to, you know, I think Infinity War in 2018 was probably like my first serious Marvel movie. And then in that time, I've gone back and watched. I mean, I'd seen Iron Man when it came out, but like that to me was just like a one-off. But now I've watched the whole thing in like that Avengers line from 2009. So now watched all of that. I get all the jokes now. I get it. I'm like, I see what you did there. And then now I'm watching Deadpool, which is inside of the same Marvel universe, but it's not like Deadpool doesn't meet Captain America or anything like that. So they're like,
so I'm going to call, you know, all these Marvel snobs, right? Remember when Black Panther came out? All of a sudden, every black person and their mama have been Marvel fans for since
No,
that is a damn lie. Like,
first of all, you'll be surprised how many people are actually comic book nerds that like are low key about it.
I'm not.
I'm not one
I'm
of them,
saying.
but I'm sure they are.
That's not what I'm saying. But the idea that many people came out of the woodworks talking about, no, you didn't know about Marvel 15 years ago, like Black Panther.
No.
Wait,
like,
are X-Men Marvel? X-Men are Marvel?
Yes, X-Men are in Marvel.
Those I can tolerate those movies.
Everyone's got their thing. Like come on, I'm trying to think of who's the most popular Marvel person. Like, even if you didn't know,
The Hulk, was that Marvel?
Yeah, the Hulk is Marvel. So I think everyone knows the Hulk. Iron Man. I mean, everybody only really started knowing in like 08, 09.
So what I'm saying is, I'm not talking about people watching Marvel movies. That's one thing. Like, of course,
that's easy. That's the easiest
but
way.
To be this aficionado, like, there is it's just like Star Wars or Star Trek or whatever.
Yeah, I don't watch that. I've had people almost have heart attacks when I say Star Wars or Star Trek. They're like, "Oh, they're different universe."
That's another one I never really got into. I'm not going to go back and watch special effects from 1976 and act like I'm impressed. It was great back then.
Yeah, I'm like, sorry, I can't.
But I'm sorry, I don't think like fake laser beams that go like pew pew, like that's not. It's not impressive. It's just someone like holding up a model of a spaceship with strings attached to it. It's like.
I'm about to ask a question that will probably just get us canceled. Like,
Lord,
like, you know what, you guys,
it's gonna get Lion canceled because my answer is gonna be.
I'm gonna post this clip.
What's I'm blanking out on the difference between Star Wars and Star Trek. Actually,
I don't.
To be perfectly
I think they're
honest,
just two different movies.
So they're not, and that's wrong, and you will get canceled. I'm not even a nerd about that stuff, but also to be fair, at least when did you come over to the US?
03, so I was 13.
Okay, how old were you? 13. Okay, so I mean, you guys get passes for not being born here. And your parents aren't from here, so you totally get passes. I mean, like if I move to another country, I'm not gonna know the cultural. I'm not gonna necessarily know pop culture from like 1980,
right,
or whatever. But yeah, Star Trek is a television show, and Star Wars is a number. Star Wars is a group of movies.
Wow. Yes, I was hella wrong. Oh, that's hilarious. The problem is, will I remember this, or will we have the exact same conversation?
You probably will, because it's hard to Star Trek, Star Wars.
I'm just like, they're guys like two different movies.
And the thing about both Star Wars,
like Black Panther and Leopard movies. What? Same thing.
I think the thing about them is it's hard to get into them as an adult. Like you have to.
Exactly.
You have to date a nerd, basically.
Yeah, like you have
be a nerd from the womb, or at least as a young child. You can't be 34 years old and like, all right, let me get into Star Wars now. It passed.
I mean, I imagine something like I saw my first Star Wars right? Yeah, movie, because that's the one with John Boyega. And it's funny because I was in Nigeria on Christmas Day 2018, drunk at a Christmas party, and my friend, who's actually the one who's like kind of dragged me into the Marvel world, was like, "Ooh, there's a Star Wars premiere at this movie theater, and John Boyega is going to be there because he's in Nigeria for Christmas. Let's go." I was like, "Cool, whatever." So like we go, sit there and watch the movie. He does a little spiel, and I like fell asleep because I'm not really into Star Wars. I don't really get it. But anyway, then at the end of the thing, there was like a little reception. I got to meet him, and I was like, "Oh, this is really cool." Good fall asleep during the movie, so I still don't get it. But I think that it's possible. Like if you were to meet somebody from one of the movies, or like sit with friends who are really into it, and you're not resisting it, because I think some of us have gotten to the point now where like we're in our 30s and people who really like them, and they're just like, "Oh, I can't believe you haven't." And I'm always like, look, that attitude does not make me a little bit more interested.
Yeah, you're not doing a good job recruiting
people.
And
I'm resisting now.
I'm like,
it's
not that great.
like, and that's like with Marvel with me, like when I saw the Infinity Wars, I remember like I was literally texting one of my friends during it. He was like really into it. Same friend from the Star Wars thing, and I was like, "Yo, who's this Loki guy?" And he's like, "Loki is an Loki." I spelled it like Loki, like y'all got to be low key. And now it's just funny to me, right? Because I'm like, can't believe I type low key is low key, right? But it's because like I had somebody like throughout the movie, I'm texting the whole time. I was like, oh, that's Thor's brother. Okay, I get it. And then now, since then I've gone and watched all the Thor movies, and now I understand, Thor's sister and all of this stuff. But like even that, like I was just watching Deadpool with my brother, and he's telling me about like in the comics there's something about the aliens and blah blah blah. And I think that kind of knowledge is kind of cool because they have a lot more like we're watching the same movie, but they're seeing and connecting things that like I don't know. But it definitely has to come from a place where you become interested in it, not because somebody's shaming you.
Like lie is so over. I think his eyes just glaze over. I will say the funny thing. I thought it was funny, Io, that you mentioned you fell asleep during Star Wars because like I've seen two Star Wars. I saw the one in like 1999 because my friend took me or whatever, and then I saw the one with the black guy. I think what was that? Was that 20?
That's like 2018. Yeah, that was Christmas 2018 for me.
Okay, so maybe it was then. I don't know. I was doing like Big Brothers, Big Sisters program. I had like my little brother, and I took him to see it. And I remember like falling asleep, but thought I did it low key. And so once we got out the movie, I was talking to him. I was like, "Yeah, did you see the part?" He's like, "Yeah, I saw that part." I was like, "I don't know if you saw this part though, because I know you were asleep." I was like, "Damn."
He's like, "Yeah, I just learned, bro." It's weird. That's. But I've never fallen asleep during a Marvel movie, so I think they do better. Man.
But Star Wars is fucking. If you don't get it, that shit is boring as hell. I mean, you don't care at all. I can't describe how little I care. It's so boring. I don't fall asleep in movies like that. And I was like, this is terrible.
I think you can watch Black Panther and not know anything about nobody else and enjoy it. And the more you know, then it makes the movie more enjoyable. At least that's
I saw Black Panther. I didn't know anything. I just knew there were black people in it, and I was rooting for them.
Did you enjoy
it? That's it. I did. I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was. It was an important cultural moment, and I was proud to see it, and I was happy that kids got the chance to have a black superhero. But it's really just more for the historical and cultural significance. Like, I don't plan on if there's a movie that's indirectly related, but it's not based on Wakanda, I won't care. Like if it's the Infinity Wars or some shit and they mention Black Panther, I'm not going to watch that. I don't care. But it has to be like a black cast, And,
so no WandaVision for you. Have you heard of WandaVision?
I have. What the I'm not really asking what that is. It's more of a rhetorical question because I don't care.
But I'm gonna answer because
you go ahead and tell us what it is. It annoys me when I see it. Have you ever seen like when people post about it, you kind of get what it's about based off of who's posting about it? Like this is some like superhero weird shit because I see who's posting about it, and these people are weird.
I am that person.
This is what I'm going to say about this super. I don't know, man. This is we have too many people are too grown for this shit. Like, okay,
it's not. But like, we're too grown for we're too grown for play, and we play like it's cool.
No, that's not what I mean.
Lie means the guy dressed up as Infinity Man or whatever outside of a theater for 4 hours.
I mean,
I
would never. I would go to a midnight premiere though, like in a heartbeat, like. No questions asked.
Black Panther, man. There were all these pictures.
I dressed up.
I dressed up. Every people going
twice. I dressed up twice.
You dressed up twice. I didn't dress up. I did see the movie twice in theaters. I did see it twice, but I didn't dress up. One was I think I went with Geneva, and the other time I went with my little brother. I did not fall asleep in that movie though.
See, there are better like quality wise. I think that. Everybody gets to have their thing, and I'm really glad that those weird comic book kids get to have that are now our age get to have this because for them this isn't a thing that started in 08 or 09, right? They've been collecting the Hulk comics and all of that and getting to see actors that they know play these characters. I think it's cool, right? For me, it's just like I would watch one-off movies, and then now that I get the whole thing, it's really cool. So just a quick little bit about WandaVision. It really is just we're used to movies, and they decided to take one of the characters who only showed up sort of at the end, like in the last 4 or 5 movies. They decided to give her own show, and so the story kind of continues. It's interesting, I think, but it's really, I think WandaVision is probably only mostly interesting to people who have seen the other stuff, but it's just a TV show version of it. It's really, 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 really well done. Again, for those of us who like get the rest of it, and even I only get so much of it, right? Like I have like friends who are like, "Oh, this is based on the House of M story," and I'm like, "Ooh, what now?" But anyway, we'll leave the topic because Lai is falling asleep.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna topics.
He's gonna just delete this. We're not even gonna hear this on the podcast. He's gonna edit
like,
this.
I hope you got your jobs off.
We are moving on from this, never to return to it ever again.
I can see like the steam coming from his head. He's like rocking back and forth. Like I can't believe we're talking about this shit.
He's like, come on, guys. So next topic, please.
So I was having a conversation with someone this week, and Manny, I don't know if you remember, like I'm not totally a vegetarian because I will eat fish, but that's about it. Like I don't eat.
So that's a pescatarian. If that's all you eat. You used to eat beef though, right? But you stopped or something?
Yeah, I used to, but I stopped like many years ago.
Yeah.
So we got into this back and forth. So I don't drink milk as well. Like I don't, but even that was even before I became a vegetarian. For whatever, I just like you buy milk in the store, whatever.
You don't have it in. You eat cereal?
No, it's not.
How you gonna eat cereal if you don't got no?
If I didn't eat cereal, I would never have milk.
Okay, so we go to my
cook with milk.
So normally when you buy milk, right, you're buying like cow's milk.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you drink human's milk?
I mean, I did as a baby.
That's not the question.
No, it doesn't look like it tastes as good as cow's milk.
That's not the point.
Have you ever had formula? Isn't formula tasting like human? Does formula taste like human milk?
I don't think so.
Okay.
So
formula is disgusting.
What I'm asking is, have you had like raw milk before, raw cow's milk?
Why would I? Like,
I mean, a couple times. I was a little drunk. Got into a barn.
If it is processed, or pasteurized the way, and you cannot tell materially. But I'm telling you that this is a human being's milk, and this is cow's milk. Like if it
look like regular milk, I'll use it in my cereal or my cooking.
Wait, so what is the point you're trying to make, Live?
The point is, everyone I asked were like, hell no, they're not gonna have human's milk, and just because they know he's a person, right?
I mean, but that's not
weird. If they put it through if it tasted like cow's, if it tasted better, let's say they had human milk that tasted even better than cow's milk, and that shit was sold at Whole Foods, why would I not buy that?
Like,
I don't care. They did whatever they needed to do to make it. That's why.
Make it not weird.
I'm not. That's why I don't know if I'll ever be like a vegetarian, because I'm like, I don't care how it's prepared. I mean, I care a little bit, but not really. Like when things are prepared, I'm like, I just kind of look at it as it is. It's like, oh my gosh, can you believe you're eating an animal? It's like, yeah, but I'm eating it after it's been prepared.
Like I'm not in the wild
biting and stabbing a sheep or a pig or whatever and just like eating its foot.
Yeah,
like it's gone through the channels and whatever, and that's probably very ignorant. But
I mean, I don't think it's ignorant. Like I think
meat tastes good.
I think there are two. I mean, not two reasons, but there are many reasons why people would either be vegetarian or not. There are some, animal rights folks like, hey, you shouldn't eat animals, and there are some that they just. For me, it's more for health reasons.
Right.
Like, whenever I would eat meat, I just felt like crap. Like
beef.
So I started doing like.
Hope that doesn't ever happen to me.
Eliminating things out of my diet. And
Very
I
sad.
found out that meat is one of the culprits. So that's a big reason why it was more like,
That makes sense.
like
I don't eat much beef or pork. Sometimes I will, but for the most part, like beef is actually that will kind of mess up my stomach.
Yeah,
Exactly. I remember there when I was in South Africa, they had a lot of beef, and I remember my stomach. I mean, I think that was probably the catalyst for me stop chilling with the beef. I was like, this is gross, because I normally don't eat it that much, but I guess when I was there, that's kind of all they had, so I was eating a lot of it. And I was like, yeah, I'll be fine. And then I was like, nah, I'm not fine.
Your body gets used to not having just about anything, right? So like in law school, I stopped buying regular milk, partly because I would, a gallon would be like $3, but then it'd go bad in 4 days. And I'm like, I can't finish a gallon of milk in 4 days. And then the HEB, which is I guess South Texas, whatever. Anyway, it's a grocery store. They have a lactose, it's regular cow milk, but the lactose is out of it. And so I started buying that because it would last about a month, and it was half a gallon. So anyway, it ended up being more expensive, but it would last longer. So it ended up, over time being a lot cheaper. So I started buying that for those reasons. Like I didn't care about the lactose bit. I was just like, this tastes good and it'll last longer. And after doing that for a couple of years, and now I'm like fully lactose intolerant. Like I have to take a pill to have ice cream or anything like that. I mean, I could do it without it, but I'm miserable. But so the point I'm making is that I've gotten, my body has adjusted to not having to deal with lactose, that now it's like, don't do it to me. Like, don't, so I think that like, if you stop eating anything over time, your body does get adjusted to where when you do have it, like your experience in South Africa, your body rejects it. Like, no. Don't make me do this thing that I got used to not having to do.
Yeah.
So when you're lactose intolerant, how does that manifest?
So it's different for everyone, but for me, I always joke that like, especially it really hit me when I was in Nigeria because I couldn't get my lactose-free milk and I love cereal, so I would just get the regular milk that they would have there, the liquid milk. I realized every morning I would eat cereal, and I had to now factor in the time I would need to go to the bathroom before I would leave the house. And it just, like, my brain didn't really connect it. I was just like, I gotta eat cereal, then I gotta go to the bathroom, and then I'll go out. And like one day I was telling my roommate, and she's like, yeah, you're lactose intolerant. I was like, I have the African blood in me, like I can't be lactose intolerant. And then I stopped eating milk, and whenever I would try like regular lactose free milk, like I think I tried like rice milk, almond milk, which is really expensive in Nigeria, which now I don't eat as much cereal just because it's like a lot of sugar anyway. And then
it's like a ridiculous percentage of Black people that are supposedly lactose intolerant.
Yeah,
I mean, really I'm definitely lactose intolerant. Like, I mean, it's I don't know if it's like how severe it is, but yeah, I mean, like I shouldn't be just eating ice cream. Like I guess I eat a little dairy. Like I'll have like yogurt and stuff here and there because I want to like build up my immunity, but yeah, if I eat a bunch of cheese or something, like it's not a good look.
See, cheese, I'm fine.
I just Googled. It said between 75 and 95%.
Yeah. They said most Black people who aren't are just. So it hasn't happened yet, right? It's like because everyone's reactions to it is different, right? So I think there could be a lot of people who are like, yeah, every time I drink milk, I like poop, and they're like, I'm not lactose intolerant. I just gotta poop and drink milk. Like,
or I just will fart the entire day, just none.
Right, that's
the whole day,
and now I get really bloated, and I don't realize it until it happens, and then I'm like, oh wait, no, I feel differently than I did yesterday. And so like I'll just be like uncomfortable all day. Like that now for me, and soy sauce also does the same thing to me. And like now I use like liquid aminos and things like that for like fried rice. But it just
almond milk is good though. I use almond milk. Oh, you don't like almond milk? Have you had the vanilla almond milk?
I've tried it all. Oat milk, which everybody now loves, and here's my thing now. I'm just gonna get the lactose-free milk if I want milk with cereal, but like I did a diet last year that like was no dairy, and so since then I've kind of gotten used to not having to have milk all the time. But I still will fuck up some whipped cream on some dessert and some ice cream. I just pop the pill and go with it. But I just nothing is like milk. Like almond milk, cashew milk, rice milk, oat milk, all of it. I'm just like,
I'm someone who can find substitutes and like be fine with it. Like I feel like some people are like, oh no, it's not the same thing. Like I can't get used to it. Like I can get used to stuff pretty quickly. Like, oh, I don't drink regular milk. I'll just do almond milk because it doesn't have like the lactose and stuff or whatever.
With cereal, it just feels like
and I just get used to it. I'm like, oh, this is fine. This is good. I mean, I still see it as like my mind will still see it as milk. And it doesn't bother me, but I know some people are like, oh my gosh, like no, it doesn't taste like the real thing. I'm like, well, it won't, like it won't.
Yeah, it's because
and that's
it's
okay.
Not the real thing.
It is what it is, and you can still enjoy. I still enjoy cereal. Like I don't miss milk. My body
for me, I get in like I would rather not have cereal than have almond milk with cereal. Like I'm just because it's upset. It's like no, I'm just gonna have a sweet potato and eggs for breakfast. Like
a sweet potato. That's interesting. I mean, that sounds good.
Yeah, and I started doing that when this diet that I did last summer. It's one of those like it's sort of like it's not really a diet. It's like an elimination thing where you eliminate a bunch of stuff out of your diet and then you start to add it back in and see how you feel. But there's no dairy allowed for 30 days. And once you take no dairy, no flour, no sugar. So you're like, okay, what can I eat for breakfast? So either you just eat a ton of eggs or you try to like add other stuff. So like sweet potato toast is a thing where you just cut like a big sweet potato the longest way. And so it's, big. It's like the size of a slice like French bread or something. I'll cook it in the oven and that with eggs and avocados. Like I realized like this is actually quite an enjoyable breakfast. And not something that I would imagine for breakfast. But anyway, so like that's one of those things I do when I'm trying to like avoid, the flour, the sugar, the milk. It's for breakfast because it's either that or like I'd eat like ribs and eggs for breakfast.
Wait, ribs? Okay, wait, what is going on?
It's a little aggressive, but
I could make the leap to the sweet potato, but
the ribs. Well,
I need you to chill with eating ribs in the morning. It's too early for that.
I did it, especially because like when I did it last year, I was also going to the gym early in the morning. So like I'd have like all this meal prep in the morning. I'd grab like heat up my ribs in my hand.
Oh my gosh! Okay,
eat, drive to the gym. I got my fuel.
That is the blackest thing I've ever heard about. Like, wake up, heat up my bag of ribs, and
hit the gym, and like I was like, I have my fuel I need for the day, and actually, like I felt better and less hungry. Like I do all of that, and I'm not hungry until like 1 o'clock versus when I'd have like a bowl of cereal and an hour and a half later, my body.
Well, you ate a rack of ribs.
That's what I'm saying. Get you your calories early so you can burn them.
Look, man.
Yes,
you have to reimagine food. You have to like stick to the whole thinking of this is breakfast food. Like you can have cereal for dinner. I
break rules. I break rules, but ribs that early. I'm sorry, that's weird. That's weird. I'm not a big rib person.
I mean,
to be fair, I'm not a big.
It's not an IHOP's menu,
I'm not a big rib person.
It's not strange that you think it odd.
Okay, so last week we were talking about we were judging that
this
American
poor little lady.
Yeah, we're judging our dating stories. I think she has 2 or 3 more that I would like us to judge.
Let's get into it. She's gonna find our podcast and come find us. You're right next to her. You're right next to her. Like she's gonna come get you.
It's hilarious.
All right, so here we go. Let me know if you can hear this.
Yeah.
Can you hear?
Right, so this next guy,
Yeah.
Actually, let me increase the volume. So just give me 1 second. All right.
An FBI, and I say this because when I tell you this man could find out some information. So this is actually the guy I was dating for a bit, but not for a long time. I think this is maybe like our 2nd or 3rd date that we went on. And, we're just catching up, talking. And, I'm talking about this guy that I used to date in New York City. And he's like, oh, I know who you're talking about. And I was like, what? And he was like, it's the guy that works at this company, right? And I was like, first of all, no. But how do you even know that I have a friend that works at that company? So let me rewind for a second. So before I had met this guy on this date, a really good friend had come into town. I'm a friend from Howard who had like a layover in Paris. And we went out, we got drinks. And he did take a picture of us that he posted on Instagram, just like hanging with Tiff or something like that. But it's so funny because I don't even think I was tagged in the photo. And the photo wasn't on my Instagram account. And I didn't even know this man had my Instagram account. But anyways,
that's next level.
On the date with this guy. So anyway, so he goes, yeah, I know the guy that you're talking about, the guy that works at this company. And I was just like, no, he doesn't work at that company. I have a friend that works there, but how do you even know that I know someone that works at that company? And he was like, I have my ways. And I was like, now, wait a second. This is really creepy. Like, this is really creepy.
Bro.
Man able to find a friend of mine, first of all, without having my Instagram account, because I don't remember ever giving my Instagram account to him, find a friend of mine who had posted a picture with us and then bring it up on the date. Like, man, if you're going to stalk, but don't be telling people that you're doing it. Like,
exactly.
But this is also the same man that said to me, well, Beyonce cheated on Jay-Z, so men are allowed to cheat. I was just like, done. Like, that was just.
All right, go.
You say boom.
Okay, so this is it. So let me. I
think it's weird.
I have two conflicting thoughts about it, right?
Okay.
So what she said, because I feel like people do background checks on folks. Like if you meet someone,
stop it! You stop that right now. You stop it right now.
These dating stories were about lie.
No. But you know what I mean by background checks. I'm saying people creep on others.
Yeah, we all creep, and women are the best at this. What's your point?
That's what I mean. That's what I mean by background.
We don't bring it up though because we're not crazy.
Okay, so that's a different question. That's a different question. So that's why I said. That's why I started with that. That's why I said I have two. Whatever. So the first part is the idea that So if you're just thinking about it broadly, right? You didn't know about it. I don't think it's that surprising that.
Sure people look people up. Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that she probably looked him up too. Looked at his LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever. And so the real controversy, the real question here is that he said it, right? Like,
that's a big. It's not like.
So, but the point being, if you take away the fact that he said it, everybody
that's a big part of it. Yeah, but that's a really big part of it.
So you're gonna bring
you can't take away the weird thing and then say why is this thing? Well, it's not as weird when you take away the weird part.
I actually don't think it's that weird because
to mention it, it is. No, it's creepy as hell.
It's pretty weird. Like, I have to remember like what to say to people. Like if I already know them. It was hilarious. Like one time, like so we were like I was talking about someone with Geneva. I'm definitely not going to name drop this person. And we were talking about them. And so I looked this person up because like, when someone's talking about someone, maybe this is just me, but I have to like see them to get the full story. Like what's their last name? And then I just Googled it, searched them, and I'm looking through all their pictures everywhere. I see everything. And so Geneva's talking about this person. I see this person. And so now in my head, I think I know this person. When I'm walking down the street, I actually see this person and I start giving them a look like, hi. And then I immediately realize this person has never met me in a day in their life.
And I'm betting, Manny, that what you did not do was say, hey, you're the person Geneva said was cheating on their wife with your secretary. Because you're not weird.
What I'm saying is this.
True.
What I'm saying is this.
I feel like behind a dumpster.
I feel like your movie.
What?
I said I ran behind a dumpster when I realized what I had done. Like, oh shit.
This is what I'm saying. I'm saying take away, whether you know or not. if everyone is open about it, right? Like, I mean, so that's kind of like how I'm. That's kind of like that's
yeah.
the one.
I hear you, but I think that it's
let me
like
quickly finish this. This is like I actually these days, like especially, like expect people to look me up. So for instance, like with work, people like when we have new folks or whatnot, before you know, they already looked you up on LinkedIn. Like that, I remember.
Not creepy. Yeah, that's not creepy.
That used to like bother me, right? Like, like this person that I met at this happy hour, kind of like But these days, I actually don't feel one way or the other about it. Like it is.
Yeah, you're not dating them though. Like
just expect.
And they're not like pause and think about. Let me give you an analogy that might maybe help. So, okay, an intern gets hired at your job. That intern randomly is in a conversation with you and says, "Oh yeah, I saw that Aiitt quit Thompson and Knight. What was that about?" That's not about you. That's about somebody else that you know. So now they've creeped on you long enough that they're creeping now on your friends, figuring out where your friends work, where they used to work. That's weird.
No. That's not necessarily what I would think, though. Because
what would you think? Because maybe your norms are just. It's just it's a bit much, right? And I think that part of
this is hilarious because Lai is a professional creep. He never posts on Facebook or social media, but he knows everything about everyone.
Yes, that's true. I'm a professional creep.
I'm not kidding. One time he knew more about my sister's work history than I did.
That's hilarious. Hilarious.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. When was this? Tell me about it.
So this was when remember we were talking to like our tax professor, and I mentioned that my older sister like worked at she was a lawyer, and I was trying to explain what she did in house, and we don't talk much about like the specifics of what she does. Which I appreciate, but like, so I said something like, does she do that or does she do tax? And I was like, oh, I guess maybe she does tax. It's like, what Lie? Why do you know that?
Like,
I don't even remember that. I don't remember that.
Because it's natural to you to creep.
Yeah, you're like, this is just like
but it's all good. Look, I creep too. I creep hard.
Look,
I'm the creeperest of them.
Yeah, I creep on it. Yeah, I creep hard. Like hard. If whatever's on the internet that I can find on you, I'm gonna find it. Yeah. I see pictures of you and your family from 2012 at Thanksgiving. Like I've seen it. Like I've gone to their social media pages. I've seen it all.
I just think that there's a difference between the things that you know about people and the things that you mention to them, and the things that you like think it's appropriate to mention, right? Like a girl on a date randomly talking about one of her exes, and you're like, oh, is that the one that works at Goldman or is that the one that works at Mayer Brown? What? Bruh, like that's weird.
That's crazy. That's crazy. No. I mean, you might know that information, but that's crazy.
Right, you ain't gotta say it. Like
so that's why I broke it out, right? I'm like, okay,
right.
So there are two issues. So yeah, like to me, I think it's crazy that he mentioned it. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, like because he ain't got no common sense, and that's why I should get them gone and move on.
So this is the other part. I actually think people should be more transparent with each other. Like,
but that's not.
Like I've told people that I looked them up on LinkedIn before.
Yeah, that's not weird though. LinkedIn literally is made for people to look you up on.
So, but
not
again,
weird.
But maybe it's not. But like I'm just telling you. So I'm saying if you can.
I mean, although a guy I did go out with told me he looked me up on LinkedIn and saw my resume, and I was like,
weirdo.
Okay,
it's like even though you know he did it, you just didn't want him to say it. Why else would you put stuff on the internet? Exactly. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
No, exactly, for people to know it, but not like.
Let me ask you this, Aiitt. Did you look this guy up as well?
No, not really.
You don't look people up. Like you.
No, I look people up. I didn't think he. Oh man, I hope he never. Well, I don't. Oh, whatever. I wasn't like I'm looking people up when I'm like a little invested. This is just like
Okay, so that's the thing. So like, if you you don't care. So of course.
Yeah, I'm just like.
Yeah. So I guess that doesn't really count. But
I creep. Like you get like Like, oh man, I got a creepy story. Oh man.
Yeah, I want to hear
Oh my god. Like I'm the person who like can meet somebody and by meet I mean like maybe we were in the same room, but maybe we actually never spoke. And I'm like, this person is gonna be my friend. And then like I will architect this thing.
yeah,
over
you,
here.
you, you will randomly,
I am
you know,
very creepy.
I know
But
that person.
I also have a lot of like social sense. And so I don't say to
You keep
someone,
it to yourself.
hey,
Yeah.
So,
right, like, okay, I'll tell you all the creepy
so
stories. Is
basically, what IO is that person that sees someone, knows he's going to creep on them, and then just shows up randomly to when they have a flat out.
exactly like, you know what I'm saying? Like I might just show up. Especially if you put that shit out there, look.
It's like,
But again, so there's a thing, there's a Reddit thing, that a woman she's been married to this man for about 4 years, and this story gets like next level creepy. I would hope that we would all agree that it's creepy. She'd been married for about 4 years, maybe they dated 2 years. Then she ends up finding out for some reason that how her and her husband's love story from her mindset is completely different from what actually happened. This man had realized who she was interested in her, created like a bunch of other, and this was like online dating sort of scenario, right? Like he created a bunch of different profiles of men with like catfish pictures, all matched with her. The goal of his whole exercise was to have these 4 different guys be interested in her that were really good looking and seemed to have all the things she wanted, but then would either ghost her, or one of them she hired an actor to like go on a date with her. And then the guy was acting really weird because he like seemed to be really into her, but then like ghosted or whatever. So essentially, emotionally, like got her to a place where she was a bit more desperate. And then he came as his real self, and like because she had like gone, you know, like if you have 5 dates in 1 week and the first 4 are awful, right? The 5th one, the bar is really low, right? So then he comes as the 5th one in this kind of scenario, and does a few other things. I think when they're dating that are very like psycho. But again, she doesn't know all of this. So from her perspective, she's dating this really sweet guy who, yeah, he's not the most good looking guy in the world, but you know, he's really nice, blah, blah, all these things. And now, you know, they've been married 4 years. And essentially the only reason she found out all of this was he was giving advice to someone that this is what they needed to do to like get this woman, right? And it just, the whole thing is, it's creepy because it seems like he's, you know, emotionally manipulated her into like, you know, falling for him or whatever. Really, really creepy. That's next level. But I think that there is, you know, there's a lot that can happen in the in between. But I don't remember where I even started. I feel like I was going somewhere with it. But that one was like, I'll find the link and I'll share it with y'all. Like, it was really weird. Like the guy, like for him to like hire an actor to go on a date with her, and I think she either ended up sleeping with the actor or almost sleeping. I think they were like making out. And then the guy's like, "Oh shit, this is outside of my my job description." And it was like, I gotta go, you know. And no, like she felt really weird because it's like some really good looking guy rejecting her, you know, along with like all these other dudes that rejected her. Anyway, whole thing was weird, and like all of Twitter was talking about it for a while. But I think that whole situation, she didn't think it was creepy until she found out like what he did, right? In her mind, she's like, I've been married 4 years, I love my husband, we have 2 kids, all is well. But of course her finding all that out is now letting her know that maybe there's more to this man than meets the eye, and maybe like, you know, if things ever went left, he would go really, really left. But anyway, I just think that it's cool to look people up a little bit, find out 1 or 2 things, but don't be creepy about it, and certainly don't manipulate their whole reality to making you the only option for them, because that's
I mean, okay, but this story though that we just played is far from that. This is somebody just
no, for sure.
That guy's a
I do think I think it was weird. Like I think, like, why did he feel the need to like, because it's like I don't mention things to people that I'm not supposed to know. You know what I mean? Like.
And I guess what Lai is arguing for is a world where people can be open about what they know. I think
okay,
like, what he wants.
Oh yeah, I googled you and I found out that your ex-boyfriend works at Goldman Sachs. What value does that add to anything?
No. So it doesn't matter, right? So for instance, let's assume whether I found out by creeping on you, or I was talking about this girl that I met and you happen to know her, you're like, oh,
That's not weird. Yeah, that's not weird. That's a story that we're all comfortable with hearing, right?
No, but I'm saying it's still information is information. Whether
I know the same show.
it is information is information. All I'm saying is, look, your stuff is if your stuff is out there, and you found out about it, like really, that's just what you're shocked about. Like you put all this stuff out there, and then you're surprised.
But you heard her, right? This was not like she's not like he's talking about something like she didn't actually really put. I mean, obviously, it's out. The reason he found out was because it was out there. But like this was like a few steps. She's like, she doesn't have a picture with this person on her Instagram. This man does not have her Instagram page. Like, you know what it sounds like to me? Like if you got a picture of me and then you ran it through like some kind of facial recognition thing, you found like a bunch of pictures of me, and then you found a picture from like somebody I met at summer camp 5 years ago, and a picture that I'm in the background, and you're like, oh, you went to this camp when you were like 17. And it's like,
see, the reason, if I'm going to stick specifically with her, right? The reason why she's actually kind of popular in the internet, so I don't think she will be that difficult to
fair.
So,
Yeah. I mean, if you are like a more famous person, then you start to lose some of your that's a weird thing that you know about me kind of thing.
So, but anyway, to be honest, like I don't even necessarily want to make it about her. I'm just thinking, like, look, if you're gonna go out on these days, expect people to find. If something is on the internet about you, expect people to find it. Like,
yeah, no, for sure.
Good or bad, like that's kind of like that's the bottom line of what I'm saying. Like,
I can see how, but it does still make. I can see how, like, I agree with that principle, but it can make. Yeah, it makes people weird.
Kind of like,
yeah, it's weird.
But it makes you feel weird, even though intellectually you understand, hey, I creep on people too, that we're all doing it. But like in the moment, I'm sitting across the table from this person and they're telling me they spent that much time looking me up or going here and there. Like that's gonna make you feel weird, regardless of how you feel about it intellectually.
Because it partly creates this like information asymmetry, right? Like who I went to prom with, you know, when I was in high school, and I don't know your last name, right? Like that's sometimes that's part of it. Like
let me ask you this: if Shamar Moore said the same thing,
I mean, first of all, you know how I feel about Shamar. He could break into my house and steal my old passport and run a background check on me and hire a PI, and it might be okay. Although, you know, I gotta stop using him because I think he like beats up women. So maybe he's not.
Oh Lord!
I know, right? I think he like beat up a woman or maybe multiple women.
I don't know about that. What if he actually did it and you just started the rumor?
Now he's canceled.
Yeah, see. No, I remember there was something about domestic violence involving him. I know that. Now I gotta Google it. Domestic.
Oh boy.
Okay, you know, I gotta think of somebody else.
Oh boy. See.
Ooh, June 2013.
Yeah, June
on blackenterprise.com, actor Shamar Moore accused of assaulting a woman. Cops rushed to his house after 911 assault call. Yeah, so you know he did a little thing. It's on the internet. I found out about him on the internet too. So I have a funny question. Somebody sent this to me. The question is like, on your best day, what is a celebrity or who's a celebrity that you think you could pull? Like on your like, you know, like guys, fresh haircut, like your clothes match or whatever, like you've been working out, like all's well. Who's like the, you know, not just like any, like who's the hottest, I guess, celebrity that you think you could pull, like for real?
Who asked this question?
It's just a random Twitter thing.
On my best day.
So I'm thinking about it because I'm actually not that like you know the way people have like a celebrity crush.
Yeah, have celebrity crushes.
Yeah, I mean, I will have it over time. Like, oh, like I like this person, and then move on. Like, it's not like this consistent thing.
I think celebrities look good. I think there are celebrities that look good, but not the same way you have like a crush. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like,
well, because you don't know them. I mean, but oftentimes I think that a crush may be on a character they've played for sure.
I remember.
I've definitely been like more attracted to people and characters, and then like not as attracted as just the person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, good Lord, this person's so attractive. And then when you just see like pictures of them like not playing that role, you're like, oh, I mean, they're fine. But like something about them being that character is just so attractive.
Because what it is that character just gives us like if you're a person who likes people not just for like a picture, but like personality, your character has personality and it has lines.
And you just you just start loving that character because it's a curated, made up character and it's supposed to be attractive. But
so I'll give you an example. Like, remember a couple of years ago when Serena had this cat suit, like I was like that. I mean,
yeah. Everybody remembers that. That was amazing.
I feel like every other.
But they should wear a dress, and you're like,
I'll say this though. I do. It does. The fact that Jay-Z is married to Beyonce bothers me. It's like, I know I could pull Beyonce then if I just talk to her. Like, just let me talk to you for a second. Like, hold on. Like, because he's hideous. I get that he has money and swagger, but I don't know. That just blows. That's just so wild. And it's so wild that they have children that are of mixed attractiveness. Do you know what I mean? Like by attractiveness children. Like your one parent is very attractive, one is very ugly. That doesn't happen normally out in the world. Like Jay-Z, if Jay-Z and Beyonce both worked at T-Mobile or whatever, like they would not be dating.
Actually, I don't.
Jay-Z has nothing. He's not a drug dealer, nothing. He just works at T-Mobile. No money, and he can't rap.
So I will say this, like my best friend and I talk all the time about, like, I have friends whose wedding pictures I look at and I'm just like, so I just feel like a lot. I mean, I never say this to any of them. I just like screenshot it and send it to my homegirl and we talk shit about them. Like a lot of women, men, as far as attractiveness, I mean, like partly because there's not. I guess it's just the way the world is. But like I know women who are like an 8, a 9, and I don't think 10s really exist in the wild, but like 7.5, and she's married to a dude who's like on his absolute best day is like a 5.
But wait.
A 5.5.
Looks, or there may be other reasons. Like, I mean,
strictly looks. I mean, I don't like. I don't know.
There has to be some other reason that she's into him.
I think that's what Manny is saying. Like, if you take away, if you just all things being equal, because if, for instance,
but some of that is just proximity, right? Like there are people who like their attractiveness levels are very different, but they've worked, they both work at T-Mobile and they've worked a lot of long nights together. And they just like talk a lot and they really get each other. And when you look at them, you're like, huh? We're like super in sync.
So Jay-Z works at Chipotle. Let's have them not work at the same place. He works at Chipotle. Beyonce works at T-Mobile. I'm not seeing it. But you know what? It's funny because when I was watching the Lemonade video, and like a few years ago, and you see it, and Beyonce is just like amazing and powerful and talented, and it's just something you've never seen before. Right. And then at the very end, like the last song, they finally pan to the man she's talking about that she's been heartbroken over, that she's created all this art for, and it's just the ugliest person you've ever seen. You're like, what the fuck? It is so mind-blowing.
The real tea is that because of all the money, Jay-Z, the Jay-Z we see is the best looking Jay-Z there could be. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And that's still...
like if he was at Chipotle, my little different.
Yeah, but he doesn't look that great even with $1 billion. No,
that's what I'm saying. Like whatever Chipotle Jay-Z is.
Yeah, Chipotle Jay-Z is even worse than this $1 billion Jay-Z. So I'm just saying. I mean, look, I get that he's got swag and all that stuff, and he's just. He's a very smart guy, And I get
they have stuff to talk about. They get each other, I imagine.
Yeah, no, he's become attractive in other ways. So I got to give him that, because he was not born with a good hand, and he turned it into something.
I believe the line from Hitch about like any man can pull any woman, just gotta have the right broom, or sweep any woman up her feet, whatever, as long as it's got the right broom. Like, I believe that to a certain extent. Like, I mean, it has to be true, because some of the couples that I see, like, it's very rare that I see, and this isn't even just a Black thing, or like, goodness, like, especially now that like more of my like law school friends are getting married, I'm like, girl, you waited till 32 to get married and that's it? Like, come on now. But then I can't hate too hard, because I'm like, look, I don't know what the future holds. I'm gonna have to like, I may someday have to be like, you know what? you just they get me, or we're on the same level spiritually, or whatever. But I just think it's always interesting seeing those couples and being like, well, I guess, you know, it must be money, because it ain't your face. Because look,
I mean, you were saying last week that sometimes
can get it.
Huh?
Shimon can get it. The woman beater.
A version of Shimon Moore in an alternate universe that's not.
No, he's not a woman beater. I read the article. I don't think he's a woman beater.
A 5 and move like a 9, something like that. And
that was in the clip. That, by the way, that I shared.
We're like, well, like, if you are 5 and you know, you never know, you just be normal, you be yourself. You never know where that gets you. So maybe that's what some of these people too. Like, is this somebody to say hi? I mean, for all instance, I think most people are nice people, right? Like, everyone has their off days, but you know, most people, they are decent enough, maybe. And then, you know, these 9 women, they're like, you know what, this guy is actually not that bad. You see past the look.
Also, because at some point, even the 9 women are like, look, like,
and the 5's
a lot of women are 9s, and they're not really getting hit on like that. Or the guys who are 8s and 9s who are hitting on them have like fatal flaws, and so they're like, well, that's not gonna work. I mean, you know,
that is interesting, right? Like, I've heard that before about like, you know, women that are like super attractive. Like, you would think
they don't get hit on. Oh yeah.
Okay, so man, let me ask you this. I mean, you know, when you were single, like, would you, like, it's not abnormal to see a woman that is like that, you know, you just be like, I'm not even gonna try and talk to her because she's never gonna say hi.
That's above my pay grade.
Yeah, I mean, you would see some women. I mean, sometimes like it's like some women, it's like it's just all they are is attractive. Like, they don't do anything else. You know what I mean? Like, that's like their job. So you're like, that person is too much. Like, that's like those are like the basketball wives or whatever, like the Real Housewives shit.
Yeah.
Like, they're not even real. Like, that's just a ridiculous thing. That's not a person.
But I wonder how often that's wrong, you know? Like, it's like, she's actually like a normal.
She
like,
might be a normal person. She could, like,
and I'm just like, I don't know how, like, your phone is not blowing up. Like, man, I'm like,
well,
I don't know.
And also, like, I feel like if women or men or anyone who's just really attractive, like, sometimes you might just be getting people who are interested in you just because of your outward appearance, but you're not getting someone who's actually, you know, like, these people don't like you as a person yet because they don't know who you are. And that's like, ugh, I'm not dealing with you because you're only coming up to me because I look like X, Y, and Z.
But that's a vicious cycle though, right? Like, that is because typically you can't help the fact that you're attractive, you know. You know what I mean? Like, if you are attractive, and that just you can't help that. But if that must suck that
not as much as being ugly. What you mean?
Yeah, no, it's I don't know. I mean, like,
what I mean is
my job look like Halle Berry. Then
you always have to have because you've been hated on by so many nonsensical people that you always have to have your like, it doesn't even matter. Like, you just automatically just
but like, even like, everybody gets hit on by. I mean, well, you're right. Like, in the sense of like, I'm sure it's a lot more. Like, I'm sure me and, you know, I don't know, like, Halle Berry, someone who looks like Halle Berry but isn't famous Halle Berry, probably have a lot more annoying hit-ons. Like, because I've gotten hit on sometimes, and I'm actually insulted because I'm just like, look at me, look at you, you know?
Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean?
Like,
that's hilarious. It's like, do you think that we're a match?
yeah, like it's like, maybe like those contexts have sometimes they've actually made me be like, maybe I'm not as cute as I think I am. But I know that's a lie of the devil because that's not true. And they just, you know, because men often, a lot of men just have a lot of courage, or they're like, look, all she gonna say is no, like, might as well shoot my shots at. But like there's just something I'm just like, I mean,
I can see how that's offensive. Like, someone's so ugly that it's offensive. That they try to talk to you.
It really, that's because you gotta be like, am I ugly and I didn't even know because
you're hideous. So does that mean that you and I
like you think
that that's hilarious?
Because I know you're not gonna hit on Beyonce, so why me? Why me, Jesus? Not often, but you know, a couple of times it's happened. I've been like, and even now with like with Hinge is the dating app I use now, and like I'll see because it will tell you sometimes that someone has liked your picture, and I'm like, you don't get the. But I'm like, you know, I guess they gotta. I'm just like, please.
It's just people shooting their shot. I wouldn't take it too personally, but that is hilarious.
Yeah, I think I generally don't.
That person would have tried with anyone. I mean, it's just
right.
You know, not with anyone, but like they're gonna. Yeah, they thought you were attractive. Like, you know what?
They probably just swiping everybody.
I'm gonna just try. You know, we'll see what happens.
Like, maybe I'll catch her on a day where you know she's feeling
insecure.
Ugly.
It's like, well, now I feel ugly because you just came up to me. So maybe that's part of their whole thing.
Right?
Gaslighting. Look, I thought I was more attractive.
The 3 a.m. Hit on at the bar right there. Like, look, you still here, so maybe it's time for. You know, Michael.
That's hilarious.
I was about to say celebrities' names that I would feel insulted if they hit on me, but let me not.
Celebrities' names.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Celebrity. Yeah. So I mean, I think I gave this Serena one, but
okay. And is yours Beyonce, Manny?
Yeah, it does. It bothers me also that Jay-Z cheated on her, and I'm like, nigga, you are so ugly though.
Was that confirmed?
Oh, that for sure, absolutely. Yeah. He definitely cheated.
I've come to the conclusion
and might be doing it now.
Like I don't think cheating has anything to be.
I don't think. I know what you're trying to say. Like, he doesn't.
Yeah, so I think that like.
I think
what's his name? Meghan Markle's husband, the prince, could cheat on Meghan. Like,
no, it doesn't matter if you're married to Beyonce or whatever. Like, you could.
Well, you better cheat on somebody who's hotter than me because what the fuck?
Like, I guarantee you, whoever he cheated on her with didn't look. I don't know. She could have looked better than Beyonce, but that's not what it's about.
Yeah,
so
right now.
It doesn't matter that it's Beyonce. I'm not saying that.
So
it's just that Beyonce was she was so heartbroken. She wrote Lemonade, and it's like then I was reminded that it was about this guy, and I'm like, look, I can look better than him.
I'm not condoning cheating. I'm not condoning it at all.
But
comma, however,
what I'm gonna say is, you know, we as humans, like we've lost our ways. Just in terms of why it is our business to. I mean, people went on and on about the Beyonce thing. Like,
Beyonce don't give us no tea about her life. So when we get a little bit,
why do you think it's our business to kind of like be to make that big a controversy? Like, it wasn't even really confirmed. But this so-called, do they call them beehives or whatever?
Beehive.
Mm-hmm. What they were like that.
They was ready to fight. They was ready to fight Jay-Z. Like,
they went crazy over that. I was like, what the hell? Like, okay, so let's assume he even came out and said yes. Like, you know,
I think he did. He actually did come out and say that. But I mean, it's you know, it is what it is. It's not surprising. And, you know, honestly, if I'm Jay-Z and I get Beyonce, I'm going to be pretty confident. I'm like, well, what else can happen?
Right. And you know what? I think that also like happens in the world. Like I think that there are women in the heterosexual, the man is cheating context. I think that there are women that see a guy who's, and then they see him with a Beyonce, and they're like, I wonder if I can get him. It's I don't know how to explain it, but like it's definitely a thing that happens where people just like Jay-Z is more attractive because he's with Beyonce.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people that are going to be more attracted to him because he's with her.
Right.
And then some of that subset of people are now going to be interested in an affair with him or a night with him or whatever, because there is some sort of power from, taking Beyonce's man, right? Like, think about you saw a whole Beyonce's man. Like, you might be feeling like you're bad yourself.
I mean, you feel like you're Beyonce, or
Yeah.
better than, you're better than
Exactly.
Beyonce. You have
Right,
something
like-
over Beyonce. That's pretty.
Isn't that
That's
ridiculous?
That's pretty. Whoever these women are, I mean, they feel pretty good, at least in that moment. But
all right, so let's play one more. I think she may have one more story.
Mhm.
Let me share this again. Let's see.
It's a really weird moment, and I feel like a really weird thing to say to someone on a date, just in my opinion. So yeah, that was another very weird interaction that I've had with.
We can't hear her.
I can't hear. I thought it was just me.
Yeah, I could, and then I can't. Lai, you're mute. So if you're talking to us, we can't hear you. That's probably why we can't hear her, because he's mute.
Yeah, that happened to me earlier, where it just stopped.
Yeah, we saw that, and I was like, I wonder if you can hear us.
I couldn't hear you guys.
Yeah, because
But could you hear me when I was talking, or no? Was I mute?
Not initially, and then you did something, and then we could hear you. But you still couldn't hear us.
I was like, what the hell is going on? But yeah, I had to log in and then log back out.
That might be what he needs.
No,
to
we
do.
still can't hear you. That's so weird.
All right, what about now?
Now we can hear you.
Nah, yep.
Okay, so I think I know what happened. All right. That was on my end. Okay.
Because it was another delivery man who was actually coming to drop off my food. So I had ordered food. I honestly cannot remember what delivery service I use. Uber Eats, Deliveroo, Just Eat. I honestly can't remember. But he was coming to drop off my food. So he rings my doorbell and he's starting to give me my food. Something told me that he was going to do something weird. I don't know why, but something told me Tiff, this man's gonna ask you something. And sure enough, he was like, can I please come inside and use your bathroom? I was like, what? It was so weird, so awkward. And I think I thought it was also weird, especially because in Paris, there are so many public restrooms. There's actually a public restroom right outside of my apartment. So I was just kind of like I understand if you have to go to the bathroom and all that stuff, but you cannot come into my apartment, especially because I was here alone at the time. And I was just like, I am not feeling right about this. But it's crazy how your intuition can pick up on things, because I knew this man was going to ask for something. I knew that he was going to ask for something, and he sure enough did. But yeah, I thought that was another really weird interaction, and I kind of felt bad at first. Kind of like, dang, I feel bad if he really needs to use the bathroom. But at the same time, I was like, no, I'm not putting myself in danger because this man trying to get into my apartment. So yeah, I thought that was a very...
I mean, we can all agree.
Yeah, that's it. That's
I think we could. Yeah, I think the consensus is pretty clear. There's not going to be a dissenting opinion.
Yeah.
On this one,
Mm-hmm,
that is.
That's
Do you mind if I come into your apartment while you're alone and unzip my pants for any reason at all?
Yeah, did y'all hear? There was a whole thing about, was it Chrissy Teigen? Some celebrity. This just reminded. See, my brain is saying Chrissy, but I'm like, people just love to hate on Chrissy. But then but then I was like, maybe it was Gabriel Union. It was something about a Uber Eats delivery person using their bathroom. I'm gonna Google it.
Is that a
and
thing?
That should not
I
be.
mean,
I wouldn't let. I mean,
Manny, do Uber Eats folks try to use your
they've
bathroom?
never tried to use my bathroom, and
yeah, that's
honestly,
what happened to me either. But I don't order food.
I would be
much,
like,
so.
now I'm gonna be aware of that, and if anyone asks, I'm just be like, no, because I can see you catching me on a day where I'm confused, and I'm like, I guess, and then you murder me.
So okay, this is hilarious. I remember this. Okay, so this is BuzzFeed. A Uber driver dropped a deuce in Gabrielle Union's house, and she tweeted about it. What put her in this shitty? So okay, she said this is her
situation.
tweet.
I get it.
This is her tweet. Trying to be responsible and use Uber, and our driver asked to use our bathroom 15 to 20 minutes later. Dude, and she has a green gross like ugh emoji. Dude dropped a deuce. I'm pleased we clearly have a home and available reading material that screams, "Come in, get comfortable," and drop the kids off at the pool. Welcome to 2020, folks. And I feel like some people who thought that was weird. They're like, why would she have an issue with it? Like, these people are working really hard. If you got to poop, you got to poop. And I'm just like, really?
No.
Like,
no.
That's one of those things where I think people hold celebrities to higher standards than they do themselves. Because if I tweeted about some Uber driver asking to use my bathroom and I said no, people would be like, yeah, girl, don't get murdered. But a celebrity tweets about it.
Was she alone? Or was
I don't know. I remember seeing when it happened.
Not the way she's talking about it. I don't think
she was. Even if she
but yeah, regardless of that, that's disgusting. No, you can't take a shit in my house.
It seems to me like the poop made her more upset than like the using the. I feel like if he came in and he peed and he left, she probably would like not tweet about it.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Like the fact that I'm letting you in my bathroom to use the bathroom.
But if you gotta poop, you gotta poop.
Then you gotta shit in your pants. You get out of here or go behind something. Get out of my house.
Right, like don't ask me to somebody's bathroom if you gotta poop.
How you have to be kind of intimate with somebody to just poop in their house. I might have to know somebody for years before I'm comfortable just taking a shit in your house. I just met you and you're gonna take a shit in my house? That's
way too intimate. That's a lot.
That is a lot. There are people in relationships who haven't done that shit yet. And
Literally.
And like, you're just my Uber driver?
Like,
and
I'm looking at the tweets about it, and some people were like, don't penalize a guy from having to go to the bathroom. Come on.
Okay, that person can go.
But
look,
yeah.
here's you don't. Our relationship is transactional, right? You drive me, I pay you. You get the fuck out of my face. I don't ever want to see you again. It's like this whole let's be best friends and all this shit. Like, let's not mix business with personal. Like, no, that's not what we're doing here.
Like that's not this kind of that's way too much. Like that's
ridiculous. And because she's a celebrity, they're gonna be like, oh, she's just beating down on the working man and all this shit and blah blah blah. It's like, oh, so you'd let whatever his name is just come and take a shit in your bathroom?
Yeah, no, that's
seriously.
Nuts. I mean, somebody tweeted that she should check the room for a hidden camera and check the dude's social.
I mean, that's not even crazy.
Yeah, no.
Why are you in my? I'm a public figure. People know who I am. I'm not going to just have you in my space like that. You don't get a free tour. I don't think you should do that. This obviously upsets me a lot, and I didn't realize that it was going to take me to a place that it's taken me. But I'm very angry about this, and will defend Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade or whoever else was there. I don't know. I'm so upset about it, though. Do not take it. Because people's entitlement to think that they can just take a shit in someone's house. Nope.
Yeah, you gotta go though.
Yeah, you better go outside. You better go in your car. You should have thought of that like an adult. I never at work, like if
Wait, you never at work,
like at a deposition or something. Like, I got to take a shit. I can't hold it. Grow up, be an adult.
It's too. And what I do hate, and I think we've talked about this before, is like I hate people even asking me certain questions because now you've put me in an uncomfortable situation where I have to juggle this, like, do I want to not get murdered today, or do I want to just, be nice because I'm generally a nice person and I don't, if someone's asking, maybe they really need to go and they've got diarrhea. And if I don't say yes to them, they're now going to have to drive home and lose 4 hours of making money on Uber and blah, 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 blah. But it's like, don't even ask me. Just go to the McDonald's, go to park and go into a hotel. Like, I don't just.
But that's
that's a question I hope nobody asks me.
If you're delivering pizzas, you don't say, if you have to go to the bathroom, you don't say, oh my gosh, I know I just gave you your Domino's. Can I please use your bath? Like, you just deal with it. Like, oh, you have to take a shit, then you have to just go in your pants or something.
I wonder if some of that came from, she gets in the car, she's being nice. She's like, oh my God, you're Gabrielle Union. She's like, yeah. He's like, oh man, I loved you, blah, blah, movie. She's like, yeah, thanks. Always nice to meet a fan. And he's like, oh, now we're best friends. I got to poop in her bathroom, right? As opposed to like, if she just sat in the car, put her shades on and didn't say a word until they got to the destination, but I would hate to be famous because of this and many other types of
I think it was just someone thinking they were so comfortable and they wanted the story that, I'm so close to Gabrielle Union. I took the shit in her bathroom. It's like, I mean, that person was being ridiculous, and that person was being in the wrong. I can't imagine taking a shit in Gabrielle Union's house, or anyone's house that I'm not incredibly
it's like I would much rather someone is like, you left in a hurry, like, girl, I had to use the bathroom. I'm like, oh, feel free. I mean, and even then, to be honest, because it's like, I don't know what's about to happen. Like, there's a whole set of like movies about people pooping in people's bathrooms after a one night stand and it getting stopped up and all that. So like,
yeah, anytime anyone's used my bathroom, I assume when I walk in after, it's not going to smell. I just assume you're a decent human being, and you didn't have the audacity to take a shit after I lent you my bathroom. That's a crazy thing for you to do. I am assuming that person is mentally ill. Like if they did that,
See, now I gotta think about. I'm sure I've pooped in people's bathrooms. I mean, like But the other thing is like I'm like almost permanently constipated, so I probably don't.
And like I use the bathroom, frequently. I'm very regular, and I still manage to not run around taking shits in people's bathrooms. I don't know. I've managed to do that. I usually tend to do it either in public or in my own home. I'm not like going to people's homes and just like, oh, let me just take a shit in your bathroom.
And it's like, would you mind if I drive over number 2 here? Yeah, that situation sounds wild to me, but.
That is an insane. Was that even? Where did we? Oh, okay. So the Tiffany girl, that didn't happen to her. I was trying to remember how we even got in that subject.
Have we got to strangers in bathrooms?
So back to Tiffany. The fact that he even asked was obviously insane.
Yeah, I'm glad she said no and didn't feel weird about it. No, you can't use
my bathroom.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I mean, unless you're bleeding or something, like. And even that, I mean, you have to like something, like I mean, like a gunshot wound, not like.
I was like,
no, not. Ugh. I mean, like if you have a gunshot wound or something.
I wonder if I would feel differently about a female Uber driver asking to use my bathroom.
Well, if a dude was trying to holler and a girl was like, "Hey, can I use your bathroom?" He'd let her use his bathroom. If the roles were reversed and it was a dude and it was like a woman delivering his packages and he was interested in the woman.
But then, like as women, like we know not to ask that because we're like
you would never.
Right. I like it's like
you're putting yourself in the same situation.
It's like why would I do that and be the architect of my own misery?
Exactly. Yeah. So that would never happen. But
because we have a bit more sense and fear.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of what he did doesn't make sense. But
I drove for Uber for a couple of months. I don't know have we talked about that ever? In Austin, fun times.
How did that go?
Did you take a shit?
No, I did. 2 of probably like the most interesting occasions One of them was two girls from Minnesota, and they were like, actually three. Oh God, oh, I have to tell y'all the story now. One of them was like two girls from Minnesota. They were like, clock out and come party with us. So I was like, yeah, sure, fine. So I did. I mean, it wasn't weird. It was just the only time that had happened. It was either like I was gonna go home, so I was like, I guess I'll come party with them. I did a little bit, and then I left. I mean, they did pay for the trip. I only ended after they got out the car, so I was like, look, I'm gonna get my money. But the weird story. Oh man! So I was getting ready to clock out because I was like, okay, I'll take one more trip. And the trip was in Central Austin. I lived in East Austin, so I probably was about 10 minutes from home. But I was like, I'll take one more trip. I get the trip, and it's taking me like 30 minutes in the opposite direction. I am not happy, but I'm like, you know what? It'll be good money, whatever. Then I pick up this guy. He's probably like mid-50s. He gets in the front seat. So when I first started driving for Uber, and this is all like 2015, when I first started driving, I thought, I'm okay with people sitting in the front seat and the back seat because, you know, like, you're not my servant. It was weird. And after this experience, I changed my tune very quickly on this. So he gets in the front seat. He sits. He's been drinking. I picked him up from a bar. He gets in the car and he's like, you know, chatting. He's from Tennessee. He's in town for a thing that he comes to town for every year. And at some point, so I drive a RAV4, so it's a, you know, it's an SUV, I guess, or like a small SUV. I have my elbow on this middle thing. I don't remember what I was wearing. I mean, nothing, you know, like nothing weird, right? So I'm sitting and I'm driving. I've got my right elbow in the little thing, and he starts touching my elbow. Like, and I was like, you know, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, we've got like 25 more minutes in this trip. I don't know where we're going because it's not a part of town I'm familiar with. The more I drive, the more like remote this place is. And I was just like, oh my God, how is this going to end? Like, and he's touching my elbow and I'm moving it, right? He's pretty inebriated, but he's not like stupid drunk, right? We finally get to where he's, and one of the thoughts that went through my head was like, if this gets any more than my elbow, like I'm gonna have to kill a stove. And I was like, oh, you should be ready to go. Well, I'm gonna crash this car and hopefully survive and get out. But if I don't survive, then hopefully he don't survive either. And it just is what it is. But I'm just like, okay, first, also, like, no one can sit in your front seat again because this is nuts. So anyway, you know, I eventually take my hand off the armrest, and now I'm driving like this. Okay, y'all can see my hand like this because, you know, I don't want him like touching my elbow anymore. And then it was like also like elbow and like arm, you know, like this area, right? Like, but nothing lower, nothing higher. It's just like, anyway. So I keep driving. We get to the destination, and it's like a golf resort kind of area. So getting him to like his cabin was like a little remote. Actually, the whole area was remote, to be honest. Like the last 10 minutes felt really remote, and I was just like, oh, sweet baby Jesus, don't let this go wrong. So then, to me, this is like the funniest part of the story. I pull up to drop him off. This is Uber, right? The payment thing is on the app. So like he just needs to get out of the car. He's like, you know, looking around, like trying to like, it looks like he's like looking for his wallet, right? And I was just like, oh my God, if this man pulls out a room key, I'm going to, like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm going to obviously, I mean, like, just lose my mind. So then he finally finds his wallet, opens his wallet, and hands me $100 bill. And my brain is just like, that's not what I expected. What is going on? I'm like, and I was like, okay, have a good night. Like, he gets out. I like immediately call my friend. I was like, am I like an armed prostitute now? And it's $100. Is $100 the going rate for armed prostitution? Because if it is, there's a much better deal.
Wow.
Yeah, I would have him touch my hands for $100 every time.
He didn't even say his arm. You can hold my hand, fingers locked.
You know what I'm saying? Like, at this point, but it just, what was funny to me about the thing is like, I just kept thinking like, up until the wallet and $100, I was like, oh my God, this is an insane situation. This is kind of crazy. This is kind of weird. And then he hands me $100. I was like, oh, that wasn't so bad. Like, see you tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah, it was such a strange experience. And I was super broke at this time. This was like, I think this was, I was studying for the bar. So like, And I don't think I didn't take out a loan for like living expenses then. So I was like, it was one of those like, you're done with law school. I know I'm starting at the firm in a couple of months. They didn't give me like a stipend. So I was like trying to just financially not starve. And I was like, thanks for the $100.
Wow.
Can you please not touch my arm ever again? But anyway, I thought about because I thought I would report him to Uber and be like, this was, but I didn't, which I should have. I was like, yeah,
$100 to touch your arm. Wow.
Like I'm saying, like I might be down. But after that I started like putting a purse in my front seat so people wouldn't sit there and be like, you can't sit here. Like go sit in the back. Because of course in the back you're like, I could get murdered.
I've gone in Ubers. I remember going into an Uber. I don't know why I remember this so specifically, but I just remember going into an Uber and like the woman who picked me up was just a very small woman, young, small woman. And it was at night. It wasn't like 3 a.m., but it was probably like, I don't know, 11 o'clock. And we were only going like 10 minutes, but I was like, I really hope you have a gun. Because you can't like,
I don't think Uber is cool with that.
Like I can't, but it's like that's crazy. Like for you to just be in the car alone with someone. Like obviously, like I wasn't gonna do anything, but I like immediately was just like, this is a wild situation,
And I liked driving for Uber. I definitely feel like part of me felt like very empowered. I was, because it's not things that like women do. It didn't feel like it anyway. And a lot of my friends were like, wait, what? But then I'm like, look, okay, like a guy my age, my size, or a little bigger than me, what more can he do? I mean, of course, like maybe people aren't going to attempt to victimize him at the same rate or whatever. But, in the few months that I did it, like that was probably the weirdest situation. I think like other people maybe said something that was kind of a little off color, but like never anything like weird and certainly never anything racist. Which probably is partly because of, I'm in the city of Austin and not, Biloxi, Mississippi or something like that. But I like, it was always, I don't know. I don't even think I had pepper spray or anything like that at the time. I was just like, look, and I did drive, like the latest I would drive would be about midnight. I never wanted to I would be fine with taking people to the clubs and 6th Street and all that, but I didn't want to take them home. Because I'm like, see, now they're drunk.
Right.
Now I'm taking them to their home. It's just like, I'm not trying to be in a weird situation.
So, like I used to take Uber quite a bit, like, especially like when I worked at a law firm and all that stuff home. And now that I remember, I actually got hit on a lot. There was this particular,
okay, lie. All right. I had no idea where that was going, but I didn't know that going there.
There was this particular incident that stand out to me. It just stood out because it was kind of, I just found it funny because of how, what she was insinuating afterwards. But it was kind of like she went on this whole spiel about
said I could get off the clock, baby.
About my accent and all of this other stuff and blah blah blah. Oh, what do? You a lawyer? Ooh, like yeah. Like, sure. I mean, at this point, I was just tired, right? Like,
right.
So this is in Houston.
Yeah, this was in Houston.
Okay.
And I think, and I didn't. Of course, at the time when I was in the car, I wasn't thinking that it was after I got out that I kind of pieced it all together. So I think she expected me to ask for a number, right? So, but I didn't. But at some point, she just started talking about how there are all these men out here that they really on the DL, but they, on the DL.
She said you don't like me because you got That is hilarious.
But you're not on the DL, right? I was like whatever you talking about.
Look, I'm half asleep.
I was like, DL. She was like, they're kind of like this. And she did their hands like
She said they're not straight, they got curves. Oh my Lord, that's hilarious.
I mean,
after
I just got dropped off, I was just like, you agree? Yeah, this world is crazy. But yeah, it's I mean, but those are
I ever got hit on directly.
the funny thing is, I as you were telling your story, right? I just kept thinking like, there was none of those times that I felt one way or other. It was either I was just tired, I didn't think much of it. I never felt threatened by anything or whatnot. But I'm just thinking like, I wonder, if this was a woman, what that would, you know what I'm saying? Like, just because
if it were a male driver and a female passenger.
Yeah, male driver, female passenger, and you just never know.
I do feel like I've been a passenger with like one or two other girlfriends with a driver. They were like, "Hey, what you doing tonight? Like, come party with whatever." But never like serious enough, right? Just, I mean, obviously they were like, "Yeah, like I'm about to get off. Like, what's up?" But we probably were mostly kidding all of those times, to be honest.
It's like he was dead serious. He's still waiting outside. I thought you were meeting me at the spot.
It's such an interesting, like, I was going to say this earlier. One of the things I always thought was interesting for me is because I was studying for the bar exam. I'm like, graduated from law school, and I felt like, and this is, just the very classist side, right? Like, I almost felt like there was a part of me that needed people to know that I'm not just an Uber driver. I'm a law student.
Did you start reading out legal opinions or something?
I remember one guy, this was 2015, so it was during the state, Texas Senate and House are only in session like every other year. So it was while they were in session. I was taking a guy from somewhere to somewhere, but I knew he had to be like involved in the legislature. And like the conversation got to where I was like, I need this man to understand that I am a law student, because he was talking to me a little stupid, and I was like, listen, dude. But then also I'm like, wait, is this a good thing that they know? Or are they judging you like, damn, because UT is a good school, like, I'm like, look, I ain't your average Uber driver. I'm smart. I know words. But of course, like, they're probably like, either they're like, yeah, you're lying, or they're like, I don't really care. Just drop me off and go away. But it was always like an interesting little.
So, I mean, I remember like when I would tell people what I did, when they would ask me, "Oh, I'm a lawyer," they always had that reaction, like, "Oh, like
like no, I mean that's because of the color of your skin." Like, I think one of the times, I think with the guy that like I needed to the Capitol guy, I think I had like a head, like an African head scarf on. Like I probably just, I don't know, whatever.
Well, they'll believe it about y'all before they believe it about my black ass. It's like, oh, well, I mean, I show up in a hoodie. At least they'll be like, oh, well, Nigerians, you guys are educated, right?
Well, I mean, they don't know that. Like, they hear talk and they're like, oh, where are you from? Like, for me, it's like, they're like, oh, it just look like a random.
No, but they still kind of like express surprise.
Yeah, people do that, I think, just generally, like, because it sounds like such a serious profession, which it's
like,
not.
Oh, but y'all black, and it's like.
Yeah, something doesn't compute. Like you're a lawyer. Like
how are you black and a lawyer?
Also, I think like people think lawyers are supposed to be like, when they think of lawyer, they think of someone older too. A lot of times, I just, I mean, at least for me, like young black male, like this is just not the first thing you think of when you think of like, an attorney.
All of these things don't make sense.
Like young black male wearing Jordans, like you're just like, oh, I mean, he's not a lawyer. Like that's weird.
Whatever. It's like when people see, if you're a lawyer who goes to the courthouse, like whenever I enter the courthouse, we're like, what? Like you're at the courthouse, so what are you? You're a bailiff. You're an assistant. You clean there. You cook there. And you're like, getting warmer.
You know what? So I just logged onto Facebook and I saw what you posted with this Stephanie woman, and I feel like she's gonna see it and she's gonna tell a story about us creeping on her.
That would be hilarious. She might see it. Yeah, I know. And it, like, because I mean, the video I put up there is like it's her speaking. Well, we have a pause on her face. Yeah, it's like she's like big screen. So yeah, we're just like using her. Don't mention her name.
The funny thing is, you may actually, we may have, either you, me, or I,
Mutual,
Who
yeah,
is
yeah.
she?
common
I
with
don't,
her.
what is her? What's her last name?
I think her name is Stephanie.
Creeping time.
Sorry, yeah, I
You
haven't
about
even
to
had a
find
chance to
out where
really.
her ex-boyfriends were.
She said she went to Howard though. Is that right?
Yeah, I think she
Oh
went
yeah,
to
that's
Howard.
true. Yeah, no, that's true. Like we probably do have mutuals,
Yeah, so like,
unless she looks really good for her age.
Let's see.
I'm sure.
What's
you
her?
said she
What's
looks really good for her age.
I said unless she's like
unless she's like
40
50?
and just
Yeah. What's her last name?
I think it's Tiffany Davis.
Davis.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Now we all about the creep. I creeps.
Tiffany Davis. Well, there's a lot of.
Yeah, you can. I mean, that's such a ubiquitous name.
Yeah. Damn.
Ubiquitous. Dang, so her name ain't even special.
It's not Tiffany, but you said she's on YouTube. Let me see if I can find her on YouTube.
Yeah, she's on YouTube. I mean, I think she's definitely on LinkedIn as well.
Tiffany.
Yeah, like it would be hilarious if somebody kind of like say, "Wait a minute, Tiffany, is this you?"
Oh, you got to spell
Right.
Tiffany with an IE. I was spelling it with a
Yeah.
Y. That's why. That helps with the creeping.
That-
Don't worry, I'll find her. I don't stop until I find people.
Oh man, I feel like you gotta stop recording so I can tell y'all my creeper story.
Okay, so this is
Yeah.
her page.
we gotta end this now anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
But Stan, I want to tell y'all my creeper story because I think it's funny, but it's probably not
Tiffany
my
Davis.
most
How did you find this lie? I'm sorry. I'm still on Tiffany. I'm sorry.
yeah, I'm on her
I'm on her Facebook page.
yeah, she don't really got a lot of likes. She has 203 likes. She's probably bigger on YouTube.
Yeah, with that lie. How did you hear about her?
He
just
stalks
popped up
black
in my feed.
expats.
Like on your
I told you
Facebook. Before, I do watch black expats and
YouTube's really
this
good for
big movement of black
discoverability,
people
right?
out of the US to Mexico. So I just stumbled across. She moved to France, obviously, but a ton of people moving to Mexico.
Yeah, I know a bunch of my friends from.
So she has almost 30,000 subscribers on her YouTube channel.
That's
a lot of people.
Yeah,
That's so wild to me that like she has that, and then like on Facebook she just looks like some
Yeah, we
brand
have
new
more
blogger.
likes for UBI on Facebook.
Like,
I'm not even kidding. We have more likes on Facebook. But
Exactly. So because Facebook, you don't make money on Facebook, right?
Yeah. So
it's just a waste of
she
time.
could care less. I guess
Yeah.
someone probably made that for her. She don't even know it exists. Probably.
Exactly.
she's got 10,000 followers on
Instagram.
Instagram, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is how she make. If you look at LinkedIn page, she's basic. I mean, we are talking about her, creeping on her, and we're like out about it. Like
She'd be alright. She knows what it is.
Yeah, I mean, we know.
I don't care. Let's see.
if you she's just straight up.
It's hilarious. I was already following her.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah, GBI too. That's what I do. I look to see how many people are following them to see if it's weird.
Yeah.
And it's like
Right.
10,000. I'll
It's
get
like,
lost in the
that's
shuffle.
like,
They
I
won't
just-
notice it.
Exactly. Like she's not gonna even.
You know what we should do? We should get Aiitt to like reach out to her and tell her that we talked about her. Because if Manny does that, that's gonna
It's
be
weird.
It'll be
It's
creepy.
weird.
And then I'll be one of this. So let me tell y'all about this Instagram creep. I call him lawyer creep Instagram.
This dude, and I think he married, so
I'm pretty sure he's married.
what's the deal?
And he's sending me DMs talking about UBI. No, UBI.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, married
That's
Instagram
funny.
lawyer creep. So I don't want to be.
Somebody he got a podcast. Mhm. Don't nobody know your podcast.
Like, they will be super skeptical of that. So we were like, yeah, right.
Yeah,
you
no,
reach
she'd be
out to
crazy
her.
skeptical. I would never just reach out. That
You reached out to her to talk about UBI, right?
yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Io should reach out to her if someone reaches out to her. I would that we should have just tagged her. We could. That's a crazy
Yeah,
thing about like
just
social
tag-
media. You can just tag someone and they
Yeah.
like see it and they're like, "What the fuck?"
Oh my God.
You could tag anyone.
We can tag her and then I'll send her a message and be like, "Hey, I hope this is not weird, but
Just
and
Yeah.
if it is, you be alright."
Like
Yeah.
we judge your stories.
I know.
I mean, she might think it's interesting. You know, look at
Yeah.
these crazy people.
I mean, we didn't say anything bad about her. She be alright.
We don't have to
she'd be
read
alright.
this to be sure.
Yeah,
Let's
we're listening.
confirm that. Yeah, we ain't call her. We ain't call her
Didn't
crazy.
say nothing. Yeah. No, I mean, I generally agree with her assessments. Once we had Io's
Yeah.
perspective, I think it helped, and I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Well,
That's what I am here for, the woman's perspective.
we have come to the end of the show. We
This is
did
fun.
almost 2 hours today. Wood has a long ass show.
Long
We'll
ass
probably-
one.
Hopefully we
You
can
can,
get it.
you can cut out all the creeping parts.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna cut out the parts about movies in the beginning.
Oh, right,
Like
that's great. Yeah,
45 minutes of
yeah.
Lai just being annoyed that we're still talking about it.
He's like, stop down WandaVision.
I may break it up into two
That's
and just
hilarious.
have the movie part. Nobody's probably going to listen to that. anyway.
That's
But
part of
You'll
the
be
that's
surprised.
part of the
You'll be surprised.
conversation. You gotta
don't
get
know.
that shit in.
I'm
You don't
just-
even know. People
I'm gonna
love
leave it as
them.
I'm going to leave it as is. So
That's
you'll be
hilarious.
alright. But anyway,
They'll
we've
be
come to the
alright.
end of the show. Thanks, Aya, for coming on again.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, we'll get this up, and yeah, until then, you be alright.
Yeah, be alright.
What?